Around 4 million Zimbabweans face hunger as drought hammers the southern African. Food is becoming scarce in large areas of rural Zimbabwe after rains failed for a second season, making living conditions worse in an economy that's contracting with just a fifth of workers in formal employment.
Matthews Ganyari tills a dry patch of land, coaxing a few thin cassava tubers from the soil. This year's harvest has been poor. Matthews has barely enough to feed his family. Farmers across Zimbabwe have lost cattle and crops and fear more pain as the year progresses.
3 or 4 months to come. If nothing is taken as an assistance, then surely it means people are going to die. You will hear the stories of dying here and there.
Southern Africa has been hard hit over the past year by drought, exacerbated by El Nino, a warming of sea surface temperatures in the Pacific Ocean. The United Nations Development Programme has said up to 4.5 million people, half of Zimbabwe's drought-stricken rural population, will need aid by next March. Child hunger and death are rising, according to Save the Children.
If they don't get aid as quickly as possible, these people will end up dying, or maybe malnourishment will increase their children, or they even starve to death. So it is a matter of life and death for them.
The impact of the drought is particularly serious in Zimbabwe, where the economy has been struggling for 5 years to recover from a catastrophic recession that was marked by billion% hyperinflation and widespread food shortages. Zimbabwe has appealed for $1.6 billion in aid to help pay for grain and other food.
Billionaire philanthropist and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates has been speaking on how he plans to spend $5 billion on the African continent in the next 5 years. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has invested heavily in Africa, tackling a wide range of issues in healthcare, education, women's rights and poverty alleviation. Speaking in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, Bill Gates said health will remain a priority for the work of his foundation in Africa, and it faced a struggle to bring down the rate of new HIV infections in the world's poorest continent.
Well, the $1 billion rate will be maintained and even increased somewhat. So it'd be over $5 billion over the next 5 years. And that, that's how we make sure there's cheap vaccines that are getting into Africa, better seeds are getting to the farmers, helping out with the delivery systems that are a huge challenge. We have a challenge to bring the numbers down. We do have in the pipeline some breakthrough innovations like a vaccine, but that's not imminent. It's about 8 to 10 years away if things go well before we'll have that magic tool.
Now let's now cross over to Abuja, where Channel's business news editor Bosun Omofa is standing by, monitoring the MPC meeting. Good afternoon, Bosun.
Yes, thank you.
Now, I can see all eyes, of course, are on the decision by the MPC, which they will announce shortly. What's the mood out there? What are people saying? What are their expectations?
I think in the last couple of hours, there have been a lot of attention about what the Central Bank of Nigeria will decide today. If you go on social media, there have been comments, even from respected people in the financial community around the world. The chief economist of Renaissance Capital, Charles Robertson, posted on his Twitter page about 2 hours ago that the Nigerian Central Bank has been able to close the gap between the official and the parallel market rate since the last MPC meeting, now to about 20%. Bloomberg also did a report that came out about a few hours ago that it's likely that the central bank will leave interest rates unchanged today's announcement, which is about to happen a few minutes from now. So there are a bit of a consensus that the central bank will leave interest rates unchanged, and perhaps the liquidity ratio and the cash reserve ratio. However, if you remember the last meeting in May, the central bank surprised everybody, beat everybody on the consensus that it would leave interest rates unchanged. The central bank decided to move interest rates higher. Perhaps today we will see a repeat of what happened last May with the central bank. Chineze.
All right, thank you very much, Bosun. We will wait and see what the decision turns out to be. And of course, Channels Television will be carrying this live. And that was Bosun, Channels Business News editor. And that's it on the program. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good afternoon.